Alright, with patch 2.4 coming out really soon, I decided to go ahead and do another event guide so that way all of us can knock out the events before we go to the new patch, especially if you're trying to get Cartethyia. So let's go ahead and break down all these events. So the first one that we got are Tidal Festivities, to where essentially all you need to do is just click on all of these things just to be notified of what they are. One just came out today talking about the summer outfits, to where all you need to do is just basically press proceed. You'll get linked to whatever they want you to see, and then you will obtain the item. With this one being 300 Asterite, except with the special currency, and you get to use this all the way up till July 23rd. For everyone doing events, you guys should be familiar with the hamster lock-in event. Essentially, all you need to do is just start the quest, and as you spin your wave plates every day, you're going to be able to get extra rolls to go ahead and knock this out. So we basically have 3 bingo boards, so you want to make sure that you start this quest so that way you can start collecting your rolls. And just to put that into perspective, I had almost 70 rows, and it took me 60 rows to completely clear all of this event. Then we have a recent event that just came out, Dreaming Deep. Now this is going to be a permanent event, but if you saw my Cartethyia preparation guide, you can get some of those materials here in this shop. So essentially how this works is like the elusive realm. You're going into a mysterious realm, you're going around on the board using your movement, but it's going to cost you movie reels to do actions. The more you spin, the less powerful you get, but you do get some benefits along the way. Better resonators to use, stronger teams, etc. Once you complete one, you're going to get an ending unlock. Now, the first stage is going to have 1 ending. The second one has 2 endings, so you have to do this 2 times. As you can see, third stage has 3 endings, and so on and so on. These also take quite a long time. When it says that this is going to take about 30 minutes, that's pretty accurate. So now let's go ahead and talk about some of the rewards that you actually can get by completing this event. And the biggest thing that I have to mention is that you do have over 55 days to complete this, but as I mentioned, these do take a long time. If you try to do this all at once, you're going to probably need a couple days to get through everything. So if you do find yourself trying to get as much Asterite as humanly possible, you might want to go ahead and start working on this week. Next, we have your Summer Will Never Wither. Now, this is basically a way to force you to look at Chacona's story quest. What you need to do is start this quest immediately, get through Chacona's story, and then at the very end, you're going to be able to go to these certain cutscenes. So as you went through the story, there were certain options you were able to choose from, to where you have to replay the story just to unlock everything. You're going to have charges up top to where you can hold a grand total of 6. Now, if you just do the story today, quickly get through it, and use up all of your charges, you're going to still have most likely 3 events you have to choose to clear out everything. And you want to do that so that way you can get all the rewards. And you only get a charge once a day. So you need 3 days to complete this event just due to that time mechanic. So make sure you start this event before 3 days is up. Then we have the Cube Derby warm-up. Hopefully you've been doing this event over the patch because you need to get through 12 rounds to collect all the rewards, especially if you want to get the new glider rings. But if not, do make sure that you start this today because it is a login event to where you get rows, and you also get rows for doing weekly tasks, so that way you can get through these boards. And this does have quite a bit of rewards, so try to get as much as you can if you start at the very last minute. Which brings us to another permanent/limited event, to where this is going to be an event that you can do once the patch ends, but you have limited time rewards, to where these limited time rewards are very good. You get Asterite and materials to level up your characters. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly go through this so that way you can try to get these rewards as fast as possible. But again, this will take you a while, and do expect to spend at least a day working on this. So the main thing that we want to try to do is get all of the Asterite reward. To do this, we need to clear a Bowser level 15, and we need to unlock all of the character modules, which you should be able to do by the time you reach level 15. If you want to go the extra mile and get all of the rewards, then you need to clear at least 80% in level 21. So let's go ahead and talk about upgrading cubes. How you upgrade cubes is you're going to have these cookies, and you're going to get these as you go through Bowser's Castle. Pretty much you want to try to use all of your cookies to level up your characters because there are going to be the things that give you the most power to clear through the stages, especially if you don't have very strong characters. Your most powerful cube is Jinxi, followed by your best support cube, Shorekeeper, and Rocha, and I'll go ahead and dive into the cube mechanics here in a bit. The other thing we have is a Bowser shop to where you're able to use these coins to buy certain things. The best buys in this shop are the character modules and the rainbow data modules. modules. You also can convert your cookies to more coins to buy things in the shop, but again, I don't recommend that, especially at the beginning, because you want to try to use all of your cookies to level up your modules so that way you can get those rewards as fast as possible. But if you do find yourself having some excess coins, you can spend it on this unanalyzed awakening module to where it can generate some character modules. Because remember, you do need to unlock all of the character modules to get all of the Asterite rewards. So now let's go ahead and get back into the cubes. So as you progress through the levels, you're going to start out by having green to blue to purple to yellow to eventually rainbow modules. These are going to be the things that are going to power up your cubes. And as your cubes level up, you're going to unlock different slots to where eventually level 10, you're going to have all of the slots unlocked. So let's go ahead and take a look at Jinshi. Now, Jinshi is going to want this skill duration, this skill projectile, and generally kind of like a main DPS, really good stats. We're going to want crit rate, crit damage, energy recharge, and generally like attack or general damage bonus. Now, energy recharge is important because this allows you to get back into her form much faster, and this is your strongest module, so you probably want at least 2 energy recharges, so that way you can quickly get into the form. But they did have a filter feature in here, so it's very easy for you to look for these certain things. We're looking for skill projectile, skill duration, crit rate, crit damage, energy recharge, and general bonus damage. Those are generally the only ones that you care about. By selecting that, it's going to go ahead and sort all the modules in your bag for you so that way you can quickly add these into all the slots. And as you level up, you can go from gold to eventually rainbow to whatever else you need. Also, while you go through this, be sure to look out for these red modules because they're going to have the best stats on them. Next, we have the character modules. In the middle, you're going to want to use the main character. So of course, we're going to use Jinxi's character module, but we have other ones that help support her. The best ones to use would be Rocha. What this one's going to do is create a tornado to help bring enemies closer to you, and Carlotta's to where she's going to be able to hit close by enemies. So you can see with these two combined, it's a very powerful combination. So now let's go ahead and break down our best support cube, Shorekeeper. What she's going to want is skill duration, skill cooldown, energy recharge, HP, and healing bonus. So again, you can go to the filter and you can just put in all of everything that I just said, and we can just look for those specific skills and you can quickly fill this out. For the character module, of course, use Shorekeeper, but for the ones that help support her, that would be the Changeling one to where you're going to just do some extra damage to characters close by. And the best one is Phoebe's cube, to where any cube inside it is going to get a shield for as long as this cube is active, which is very helpful because enemies are going to be able to hit you in the air when you're inside the Jinshi cube. And the last support cube would be Rocha, mainly due to the fact that you can just have another cube that can help gather up enemies. But here's what I currently use for my Rocha. You're mainly just looking for skill duration and general bonus damage, crit rate, and crit damage. So again, just search for those and try to fill that out the best way that you can. You might not have a lot of options due to the fact that Jinshi probably took some of your best ones anyway. But for the character cube, of course you want Rochas. You can use Cartethyia as your support one to where it's just going to be doing some extra damage to nearby enemies. And of course Phoebe's to where you just have another place to where you can get that shield for the Jinshi cube. And with that, you should know everything that you need to know to go ahead and quickly get through this event and clear stage 21 if you so choose. Which brings us to the Gilded Nightmarket. Now this is kind of a pay to win event to where you're able to get tokens, and the best way to get tokens is unfortunately by rolling for characters. You'll see here when you roll for weapons, you get a lot of tokens. You also get a lot of tokens when you roll for characters. But if you didn't roll on a lot of characters or weapons this patch, or you got early characters, you may not have a lot of coins. So the main way how most people are going to be getting these coins is through activities. So we want to make sure that we're knocking out all of these activities before the patch is over. And 2 activities that I have not even completed yet, one being Dreaming Deep, what I just mentioned, to where we do have 56 days to complete it, but they want you to complete chapter 3 to get 100 coins. So make sure that you do that before the end of the patch. And finally, the Jacona story quest. So since most people will not be able to clear out this shop, I want to go ahead and point out what are the best things to get. The first one being, of course, the robes. You want to make sure you buy all the Radiant Tides, even if that takes all of your currency. After that, I would try to go for the weekly boss mats. Then you can go for the skill materials. Then I would go for the modifiers, but you could argue the echo experience because this is also one hard thing to get in the game. But the modifiers do allow you to change any main stat to whatever you want, which is going to be very helpful since we are getting new echoes next patch. Then we have tuners, and then anything left over, you're most likely spending on shell credits. One other thing that can be confusing is that you'll see you have 16 days remaining for this event, but you can only obtain night tokens a little after 4 days at the time of the recording. So essentially, this event ends when the patch is over. Which brings us to the Memory Travelogue, which is basically another Scouts of the Past event. Very easy to do. This might literally take you 20 minutes. You just have to go through all of these little memory things and get free asteroid. Just make sure that you do this within the next 4 days because we don't have a lot of time left. We also have another double chance drop. So again, if you're going for Cartethyia, try to go for her skill mats, or you might need some shell credits, some weapon experience, or resonator experience. And remember, these are all double, so make sure that you're spinning your wave plates correctly. We've also got a new login event, so make sure that you're logging in every day so that way you can collect all of these rewards. And the previous login event is ending soon, so if you are new, make sure you're logging in every day. And we have the re-invite a friend event, so if you have a couple friends that want to play, be sure to send them a friend code so that way you can get some rewards playing with your friends. And for those procrastinators that wait till the very last minute, Wuthering Waves is going to end very soon. You only have a little over 2 days to complete this, so make sure that you do because this offers a lot of rewards. And we of course have our weekly, the 1000 gateways. You want to make sure that you're knocking this out so that way you can get some free asteroid. And don't forget to do your test trials so that way you can go ahead and get some more asteroid, and be sure to go ahead and test out the 4 stars so that way you get a couple extra materials. And for those that are trying to collect as much asteroid as possible, be sure to do the hazard zone, but you do have 16 days to complete this, so this is probably your least priority. And with that, that should be all the events that you need to know about. I will be going into more details about the Dreaming Deep since this one is a pretty long event, just to kind of help you get through this much faster, so look forward to that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If so, I would greatly appreciate a like. Other than that, I'll talk with you guys later.